Again, today's top stories. London has endured another night of German bombing. Most damage was concentrated in the East End. The RAF has struck enemy aerodromes in Le Havre and the Low Countries. In Russia, further German losses are reported around Leningrad. In Asia, the American fortress at Corregidor is still defiant, but Japanese forces are reported nearing the Burmese oil fields. And that concludes the news summary. We now return you to our music program.
See here, this isn't about your dedication. Pringle certainly attests to your loyalty. No, your dismissal stems from the Titanic mission. That failure can no longer be ignored, especially now. I am sorry, but someone must shoulder the blame. The service, you understand. We can't be held responsible.
London has endured another night.
The past, forever locked in regret. But what if the past could be changed? "30 years have come and gone since the night that saw the end of a world, my world. The service needed someone on the Titanic. They chose me. I was to wait for a signal from my contact, so I remained in my cabin. I left only once Georgia was on board. And that's when it came. There'd be no second chance. It was Sunday, April 14th. Too late, you see, for the Titanic, for me. What if I'd met with my contact, prevented disaster? What if the past could be changed? What then?
Good evening. I am Smethels, your steward, and, if I may say so, it is good to see you up and about. You've been in your cabin the whole voyage. A touch of the mal de mer, was it? Seasickness can be quite unpleasant, especially if it's one's first crossing. Since you haven't been out of your cabin, may I instruct you on how to get assistance while on board the Titanic? Very good. We of the White Star Line hope that your stay on board Titanic is as relaxing as possible. As you explore the ship, please bear in mind the following advice. The mouse is your hands, the keys your feet. If you find the screen too dark or too bright, follow the directions on the control screen help panel or consult your manual on adjusting your monitor. To find the control panel help and other features, click on the life preserver at the bottom of the screen. The control panel has a help button, as well as a quit and save game feature. You may also adjust the volume. Test the settings by clicking on the black knob. You may also switch the theme music on or off. After making any adjustments, click OK to return to your current game. Wandering the ship, if you notice a hand, it indicates something to click on. May I suggest you do so? Several personal items in your room, a brown satchel, and a pocket watch are quite useful to you during your voyage. Take them with you. You shall want to converse with other passengers. If you fail to understand them, click on their face. They will repeat their last sentence. The purser. His office is on C deck, just off the forward grand stairs. The elevator, or lift as we call it, has an attendant who can direct you to various sections of the lifts are located behind the forward grand staircase. Lastly, you may always find me by returning to your cabin, C73, and ringing the bell to the right of the door. Your correspondence. 2,200 on board, and they all want messages delivered promptly. Even if it is 1912, and the Titanic, the most advanced means of sea conveyance ever devised, I still have only two hands. 2,200 on board. Here, a map of the ship for you. Compliments of the White Star Line. I have taken the liberty of indicating your cabin, C73. Of course, on a Sunday evening at this hour, there won't be many people out. Will there be anything else? A young lady. A most insistent young lady. The electric camel, an exercise device. They say it is good for the liver. I wouldn't know. It's located in the gymnasium, on the boat deck, on the starboard side. That's the right side, in case you had not been informed. Very good. Have you unpacked? You'll find your trunk key in your bag on the bed. And remember your personal effects, your watch, and if you require additional assistance, please ring the bell by the door. Good night.
Majesty's government has assigned an agent of the Crown to rendezvous with you on board the Titanic. Remain in your cabin until your contact gives you further instructions. After completion of all your assignments on board, book passage to remain on the ship and return to Southampton for your next assignment. For a more in-depth report of the international situation in the spring of 1912, please review the white paper included as part of this briefing. That is all. His Majesty's government has assigned an agent.
It's about time. You're late. Another 5 minutes and I'd have cancelled your mission. Yes, I'm Pringle. Penny Pringle. From the Bureau of Secrets. You didn't think they'd plunk you down on this bucket of bolts and millionaires alone, did you? What a botch-up. Some idiot in the War Office booked me into second, not first class, and I've had a fine time of it too. The crew wouldn't let me in the first cabin at all. It's just today I located you. Look at this. A German colonel named Zeitel. He's inspecting their embassies in Havana, Washington, and Mexico City. We know better. 10 days ago, the Bureau got word that Zeitel has in his possession a priceless copy of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, stolen 2 months ago in Paris after its purchase by a very highly placed member of His Majesty's government. It's your job to find out. His Lordship's watching this very closely indeed. I wouldn't fumble this chance either. Unless you fancy spending the rest of your career in some grotty Midlands back office shuffling paper about. Have you seen the report? In your trunk? On the international situation? I'd jolly well read it if I were you. No. He's with the protégé. Name of Heidelitz, I believe. The two spend a great deal of time in the Café Parisien. Nibbling pastries. Get into the wireless room. I don't know or care how. Officer Morrow wouldn't let me in. See if Zeitel's received or sent any telegrams about the Rubai. You've got a cryptograph in your trunk. It'll unscramble the German codes for you. You use the brains God gave you. Watch people. Listen. When you find the Rubaiyat, knock on my door. Cabin F, 34. Use the second-class stairs. You should be set. Remember, this is your big chance. Don't fail.
You came after all this time. It's Georgia. I'd heard you on board. Where have you been? It's been 5 years. I'd have waited a lot longer to see you again. Why didn't you tell me where you'd gone? Dina hadn't a clue, nor did Jack. My letters were returned. Just like you to show up now, with everything such a beastly mess. You must help me. You've no doubt heard the rumors. I won't deny most of them. I can't. Even if the money's gone, I won't give the diamonds to Charles. These are all that remains. My insurance for a new life without Charles or Saoirse. Saoirse, the owner of the Barbican Gallery. We're friends, of a sort. He's sailing on the Titanic, taking some paintings to New York to sell. Please. I mustn't talk any longer. Take it. Take the necklace. It's my only chance now. Keep it for me. And don't tell Charles you have it. You can't know what he's like.
Sorry, this section's awfully... Passengers aren't allowed on the... Officer Morrow's in no mood to accommodate passengers right now. He's misplaced his binoculars, and he's in a right proper state about it. Off with you now.
Good evening. Third Officer Morrow here. I am sorry, but this is the officers' promenade. No passengers allowed. Yes, very calm. No moon. I don't like that. Can't see what's coming. No moon means surprises, as if we don't have enough already. Mr. Ismay, the White Star Line's president's on board. We're walking eggshells round him, I tell you. Though that's nothing compared to the creeping about my brother-in-law's doing at the... His entire London office is in an uproar. Tom works in the Admiralty. Seems our plans for troop deployments against Germany disappeared 3 weeks ago. Tom says the big boys have petrified the Jerrys who get wind of it. Could upset the balance of power. Politics. Desktop espionage. Bureaucrats. Pah, give me the sea. You can toss the rest. Never have. Not since the war. Then why are so many people thinking about it? South Africa. Boer War. The officer was a drinker. He was drunk when they trapped us out on the veldt. On a moonless night. It was a massacre. We never saw them coming. Drink always leads to the devil. An interesting connection. For all I know, it could be true. A man's got his troubles. Sick child, being away from home. But I hate whiners and apologizers. Well, thank you for your insight. Have a look, why don't you? Mind you, Phillips will have my head if he catches you in there, but I don't see any harm. Go on in.
Come here. Don't you love the sea air? Really clears out the sinuses. Max Seidelman, Philadelphia, PA. Buyer for Haymaker's department store. The Sharpie of Spruce Street, they call me. You a sporting type? You look like the sporting type. Come on down to the smoking room for a nightcap. Riviera's looking for someone to play a few hands of blackjack with. What do you say? Not much else to do. Not tonight. Brrr. Cold as a cast iron commode out here. So, what do you say? Great. First, let's swing by the Parisian Cafe. There's a man there named Zeidel, a German. Claims he's a businessman, but he's got something up the sleeve, all right. I know the type, believe me. Dollars to donuts, he's in some racket. So come with, why don't you? We'll hit the smoking room from there. Hey, Colonel, how you doing? Willie? Like you to meet a friend.
A pleasure. Hedilitz and I, we welcome diversion during such an uneventful passage, don't we?
Certainly.
Willie is at the University of Vienna, dissecting children's fables.
Cultural mythology, it's quite interesting. So only a junior professor, I tried to interest Dr. Freud. He's a genius, and I...
Yes, I am sure, quite. On the passenger list, it says you embarked at Cherbourg. Yet I have not seen you with the others. You were there, were you not? I see. You are British. Not so many of you in Titanic's first cabins. These days, most of the rich are Americans. Businessmen like Max. Tell me, why do you go to New York? Business. How interesting, considering the British are not so good at it. Me? Inspecting our embassies. Imperial Germany desires to make a good impression in North America. Willi is continuing on, to the west, to conduct research on Aboriginal custom.
The Indians, they are fascinating.
Yes. However, I place faith in science, not superstition.
The Colonel was saying this wireless stuff's revolutionizing everything. Sending messages to each other. It's the end of books and newspapers.
Like the Titanic, a technological triumph. Here we dined in comfort while racing along at 20 knots. It's still tied to the outside world by the wireless.
That reminds me, Colonel Zeitel, when I go to send you a telegram, they told me it was to be delayed. There are too many messages. The passengers...
I am sure our guests do not care to hear a detailed discussion of your encounter with telegraphy. Now, if you will excuse me...
Please, excuse us.
Won't you call on us tomorrow? Here, in the cafe. The Linzer Tort's quite passable for a British ship. Stop by. Willi and I welcome it most heartily.
Yes, most heartily.
And before I leave, you must allow me to give you some advice. But do not wander the ship. It is not good, I think, on a ship as big as the Titanic. Good night, friends.
Good night.
See? What did I tell you? What did I say? Them too. Up to something, I'd say. The brainy kid gives me the creeps. What a grind. He should hang out with that little blonde. She's a looker, I tell you. Come on, let's hit the smoking room. I'll introduce you to Riviera. What do you say? Great. Go on up. I gotta see a man about a horse. I'll meet you in a few minutes. Goodbye.
Daisy Cashmore, surely you remember. Oh, you a naughty thing. Don't think I didn't know you'd snuck on at Cherbourg. Smethels told me all about it. The old boy's always dripping with news. I heard about Lord and Lady Lambeth. Ruined utterly. Scarcely enough left for appearances, I'm told. I always liked Georgia. Married Charles for his name and his fortune, sensible girl. But she's made her nest. Now she must live in it. Well... off? On some lark, no doubt? You do keep secrets, they say, to the grave. Ta!
Let me introduce you to Buick Riviera. Remember, he's French, and you know what they... Come here.
Good evening, mon ami. Buick Riviera welcomes you to the tables. I am always delighted to play with friends of Max. You look familiar. We make a meeting before? Deauville? The casino at Monaco? New Mexico. I lived there once. In Diamondback. Such a town. So... have we met? C'est vrai. Then we shall use my special cards.
Good luck. You'll need it.
A game, mon ami? You are the winner. Magnifique. You like to play again? Bonsoir.
A passenger? I can't regulate the steam for boilers 1 and 2, so I don't have time for you. You're where you shouldn't be. Get up top before you're kicked up there. Oh, I doubt it. She's really acting up. See? Still working the bugs out. See for yourself. Have at it. There's a gauge showing the turbine's power up. The needle's got to move into the green zone. Over here. Right smart you were. She's running much smoother now. Say, since you were so interested, go on, have a peek in the engine room. She's quite a sight.
You are a passenger. Excuse me, I would speak with you. Forgive me, I am sorry to intrude on you, a person of such high station. I am Vlad. I have many. I am leaving my home. I am a Serb and they have killed my wife, my children. The Austrians. For that they will pay. But I do not want to burden you. Please, I need a favor. I have a friend in first class, in cabin A14. Mr. Barbican has a package for me. Can you bring it here? Me enter first class like this? No, they would catch Vlad. His name is Barbican, in A14. Tell him you've come from Vlad. He will give you the package. I wait here for your return. Your assistance will be repaid manyfold.
You found him. Sasha Barbican of Barbican Gallery. Now, what is it that I can help you with? For Vlad? He's on board? Please come in. He did it. I told him not to, told him I'd pay his ticket, but he was too proud. Such a tragedy about his family. They were with my mother's people. Ask Vlad, I don't know. Here, his things. He'll be glad to get them. It's rather late. When Austria took Bosnia, they were killed. Many were. With his family dead, America seems as good a place as any for Vlad. Good night. Enjoy your voyage.
Thank you. I must see Mr. Barbican. I've bad news. He will not be happy. I am looking for something. Something very important. But it's not here. You have seen a small... It is of no importance. Good night.
Did you get it? Did you find the Rubaiyat? Let me see. That's the Rubaiyat, all right. Well done. Leave it with the purser for safekeeping. It shall be undisturbed there. Smashing. What have you learned? More art? Zeitel's no connoisseur. No, there's something about that painting of interest to the German High Command. I don't have any information about Vlad, but the other fellow, look here. Zeitel's Titanic contact is a London art dealer named Sasha Barbican. They say he smuggles art, and he's not above selling stolen merchandise. The files say he's Serbian, interestingly enough, with links to some shady Balkan groups. The painting's what Zeitel's really after. You must secure it. Where or how, I don't care. Just find it and bring it back here. Remember, leave the Rubaiyat with the purser for safekeeping. He might also know where the painting's. Sneak a peek at his cargo manifest. That should help you find the painting. Cargo stored somewhere beneath the forecastle deck. Things are thickening up quite nicely, aren't they? We've got to get our hands on that painting. Don't fail.
What do you want? Why, what do you know? Not that it matters. I'm much too busy. I must get this message through from Mr. Thayer. Mr. Thayer expects his private train car to meet him in New York, and I can't leave my post. But I need to send this telegram. Help? Yes, it might be helpful if you delivered this message to the wireless room for me. Even better. Why don't you send it for? Mr. Thayer is a very important man. So send the telegram at once. And when you have, don't forget to tell me. Very nice. Security is our first priority. I'll put it in the safe. That's all then, is it? Good night. Only I'm allowed to access the cargo manifest. What do you want? Glad to be of good night.
Zeitel and Sasha to the ship's stern. They're having a rather heated conversation. See if you can listen in. I'll track their movements.
We've a problem, Zeitel.
Which is?
The Rubaiyat. It was not at your drop point.
You are sure?
Most definitely.
But I put it there myself. What happened?
There's a third party on board. An agent working against you. Against us.
How do you know?
My servant saw them at the drop. They now have the Rubaiyat. This could ruin me, Zeitel, if I were found out.
We should take precautions.
What about the painting? Did your associate bring it up from the cargo hold?
No, I don't have it.
No? But I put it there myself.
Sasha, I've discovered a traitor. Don't look so startled. It is not you.
You mean Hadelitz, your associate?
No longer my associate, I am afraid. Willy was an intellectual, and intellectuals aren't smart enough for espionage. Now, I must recover the painting and its plans. I fear this third party may already have possession of it.
And Hadelitz?
Thank you for asking. Willy will bring no further harm to the fatherland, I assure you. Let us plan.
Good evening. Third Officer Morrow here. I am sorry, but this is the officers' promenade. No passengers allowed. Ah, my binoculars. Thank you. Borrowed them from Fleet earlier tonight. He's up in the crow's nest. Hope he has another pair with him. Oh, guess I left them somewhere. Thanks again. Good night.
Yes, can I help you? You sent it? Marvelous. I was afraid you'd... Mr. Thayer will be most grateful. And let them think the purser's not doing his job. I am the purser, and as purser, I am the one who looks after the passengers. Mr. Thayer is vice president of the Pennsylvania Railroad, and it is I who shall inform the Thayers that their train will be waiting. So, if you'll excuse me... Yes, can I help you? Away, go away, I'm too busy. Mr. Isidore Strauss, he's lost a cufflink, and he's so particular. Thank you. It is a gold cufflink. Mr. Strauss will be very grateful.
Hello there, you again. You'll never guess who I saw earlier. The man himself, Isidore Strauss, the owner of Macy's department store, standing right over there. Haymakers is a fine shop, but Macy's, man, that's the big store. But just as I was readying myself to make an introduction, he leaves. You seen him? At the foot of the stairs with his wife. Let me know if you see him, will you?
Yes, can I help you? Wonderful. Mr. Strauss will be quite pleased that I've found his cufflink. I shall deliver it at once. I'm just sure his gratitude will be reflected most generously.
Nobody's allowed to... You've got the keys. You're a carter. Of course you can enter. Right this way. Come to visit your new automobile, have you? Can't say I blame you. She's a beauty. Gleaming like a new pen. Right this way. Mind your head, it's dark in there. You'll find your way from here.
Yes, can I help you? A painting, is it? I'll put this in the safe. Very good, then. Good night.
Still wondering? This ship holds a strange fascination for you. Most peculiar. I've a message from a young German gentleman by the name of Haderlitz. He would like to meet you in the squash court. They've opened it for him. Highly irregular, I must say, especially for fencing. Surely he is The percentage of passengers demanding the courts late on a Sunday night is small. Minuscule, actually. Yes, apparently he does not favor racket sports. If memory serves me, there is an entrance to the squash courts on D-deck. Meanwhile, I shall inform the young German gentleman that you will meet him presently.
I knew you'd come. Charles received a telegram from the solicitors. Our estate's to be sold off. He asked about the necklace I gave you. I told him I left it with a purser. Don't say anything to him or Sasha. Not him and his group of... Oh, there's much more to tell you. Can you meet me in my stateroom? I'm in B7. It's Charles' custom to go for a drink in the smoking room. When he does, visit me.
Lord Lambeth. I'm traveling with my wife, Lady Lambeth. George has decided to take the air. I opted to take this. My wife, Georgia, she's unwell. Yes, it's not the best situation, I'm afraid. And just one of my troubles. Too many to speak of. With Georgia, how else? Four years ago at a house party, she enchanted me. We got married and were happy. But Georgia's moods grew volatile. She imagined plots against her everywhere, even with Sasha. Yes, good night to you.
I wasn't sure you'd come. First, I want to know how you fared these last years. Rather well from the looks of you. I'm glad to see you. You're the only person I can trust. Please promise me you'll help. You always were there when I needed you. Now, with my life a horrible mess. When Charles discovered my affair with Sasha, he was quite calm. But I know him, you see. His revenge is taking the necklace, leaving me with nothing. And so I'd never trust him again. Don't you see? They're looking for guns, for bombs. Sasha's friends. His gallery was their London base. They were rough men, foreign. Sasha told me they were part of a Balkan aid society. Stupid girl that I was, I believed him. But then I found out. These people, they... Charles!
Please, Georgia, continue. Was it my title or my income you found so desirable? I was never sure. Now that both assets are depleted, why don't you go to Sasha? Maybe he can help, as he's done before.
Ignore him. I see the smoking room's had its usual effect.
Idle gossip, apparently.
You see his attitude? Please, go.
Since she obviously can't depend on me. Here, take the chill out of the air. Thank you for seeing after my wife. Now I think it best you leave the happy couple, drowning in their happiness. Good night.
Remember, I need your help.
You may have heard I am in financial strait. I've borrowed money from Andrew Conkling, money that he is now demanding I pay back. I've none to give. Poverty should remain the domain of the virtuous. I've no taste for it. To tell you. No, I shall fix things first. And without Georgia. Another drink? Another whiskey for, Hope you don't mind if I do. Now, you, want to know some secrets. Thank you, bartender. I'll tell you one. George's diamond necklace. It's a fake. The one on her neck, leastways. I gave the real necklace to Sasha. It's in his cabin for safekeeping. When he gets to New York, he'll sell it, quickly and quietly, for 20% commission. I'll pay off my debts to Conkling, put Georgia away, sail back to England free and clear. Georgia, afraid of me? Well, that would be a reaction at least. We no longer evoke emotion in each other. We're a husband and wife in name only. She's unstable, as you know, so I'm placing her in a sanatorium. An easy thing to do, given her emotional history. The law favors the husband in these matters. She can do nothing about it. God forbid the suffragettes really do win women the vote. They'll never know their place again. Because I threatened to tell Scotland Yard about his Serbian Aid Society, and because Sasha's a greedy bastard, he'd betray his love for 20%. And Georgia thinks she's outsmarted. No, she's got a fake about her neck and doesn't know. Another? Good night, then. You'll sleep well. The whiskey and the sea are both smooth for a change.
I don't know you. Nor do I want to. Leave me, or I shall summon a steward. Tell me, do you approve of women who smoke? You're witty. Most men take their indulgences one at a time. Combine them, like women with tobacco, and they pitch fits. Pity. I must stop our chat here. I've other concerns. My maid, she's left us. Yes, well, good night.
Just seeing to the electric. The fuse box there. She said you've had no time to check her wearing. Adek's been complaining about the lights all night. We'll get her straightened right out. That is if I can find me screwdriver. Wager I forgot it. Dawn now. Be right back.
You must leave immediately. You need to tend to your own affairs. Fortunately, you've left my valuables undisturbed.
Did you get the painting? Splendid. But now something else has come up. That snooty steward Smethels was looking for you. Find him and kick him smartly in the shins. Here's a message for you.
I had advised you against it. Young people, they listen to no one nowadays. May I help you in your search? I am looking for something as well. Willy van Hedelitz has been most irresponsible. He has disobeyed me and misplaced a favorite painting, one destined for the German embassy. A faux pas of the first magnitude. No. But he will find it most electrifying, I assure you. For someone with insomnia, you ask quite a lot of questions. What did you say your profession was? As I have observed, stay away from German business. Germany wants land, industries, and material, and we will fight to get it. Britain and America will try to stop this, but we will know your plans. And if there's war, Germany will win. But enough politics. This has been such a civilized voyage, so let us meet tomorrow in the cafe, yes? The band? They play Strauss so well. Until then, auf Wiedersehen.
Thank you for coming. I do not meet so many people on the Titanic. It is a pity. I like the English. I wish I knew more of them. Now you have the opportunity of fencing with me. 3-time champion of my university. You are also an excellent athlete, yes? Colonel Zeitel believes it so. The Colonel is very seldom confused about anything. You will play. If you win, perhaps, I relate to you some stories. En garde. Allons. Et là. Allez, touchez. Allez. Sehr gut. Allez. Allez. Et là. Allez. Touchez. Allons. Ah. Allez. Et là. You are the loser. How unfortunate. The Titanic, how quickly she is moving. The engines are loud here. We are nearing the Grand Banks. The Vikings thought this part of the North Atlantic cursed. Even modern sailors call it the Devil's Hole, a place of deadly surprises. Things aren't always what they seem, yes? Like me, for example. I am German, but I am also a friend to others. Perhaps even the English. Another match? Afterwards, we can tell more tales. Another match? Ah, a pity. If you change your mind, I shall be waiting.
Mr. Haderlitz wishes to convey his appreciation for your recent match. He'd like you to have this ring. As a token of his friendship, he seemed to think that you'd know what to do with it. Confidentially, I thought the young gentleman quite brooding, even for a German.
My dear, I have a little favor, a tiny, tiny, tiny one. Tonight at dinner, a man I don't know was making eyes at me. Be an absolute darling and find out who he is. Look him up in the passenger list. All I know are his initials, GQC. The list's someplace. Find it. I'll wait right here. Ta!
I say, how are you getting on?
Getting on? We use gangplanks, if I remember.
Quick as a cow, she is. Seen Guggenheim about?
Such a gentleman, extremely attentive to the ladies.
Especially his mistress. They say he stashed her on board somewhere.
Really, Henry? Not Mr. Guggenheim?
The Titanic's not a damned rectory, you know.
But Henry...
Quite the randy old goat from what I...
My goodness, I've forgotten completely. I have a message for you. Mr. Trask in D2 said you were to meet him where honor and glory crown time. Where honor and glory crown time? What do you think he meant? Good night.
Yes, can I help you? Yes, indeed, all jewels go right in the safe. I can check valuables, store cargo, list passengers, etc. Have you a name? If you do, I can tell you their cabin number. Let me check. Aha, Mr. George Quincy Clifford, A27. I live to serve. Glad to be of good night.
You've arrived. I was expecting you. Don't think we've met. I'm Leyland Sachem Trask, metaphysical scribe and evangelist for the supernatural. I was just holding court with these two ladies. Honor and glory. Crowning time. They say 100 wood carvers worked on the Titanic. Such effort. Now in such danger. I see your friend, Willy von Haderlitz. He is in very great danger. The ring. Yes, did you notice the Russian characters on the inside band? Willy has a hidden life. There's a girl, a pretty girl. Haderlitz knows her. Show her the ring. She'll help you. Good luck. Yes, for the ship. And for a mutual acquaintance. I visited with a very nice woman in second class, a Mrs. Hart. Won't sleep a wink at night, she says, because something dreadful is about to happen. She believes to call this ship unsinkable flies in the face of God. And such arrogance will be punished. She should join the Bureau. Good night.
Did you get it? Get his name? Clifford. Clifford. Never heard of him. You don't suppose he's rich, do you? You're an angel. And I've news for you, too. While you were gone, Andrew Conkling's been asking for you. Yes, Conkling, the steel bear. God knows what he's been doing in Europe. Buying it, probably. Where was I? Oh, yes. Andrew Conkling asked me to pass along this. You know his wife Beatrix, the designer? Such an eye! Her clothes preserve the bust line. Couldn't be more flattering. Keeps the eye moving. Much nicer than Worth's. They're friends with Captain Smith. Smith! So handsome, so dashing. White Star's best officer, or was. He's retiring after this voyage. Couldn't be more tragic. My dear, you've blanched. Bad news? Certainly, certainly, I must... It's Mrs. Burbank! Consuelo!
You seen Hadelitz's gal, Clarice Limehouse? She must have a cabin on D-deck, near reception. And could I receive her in a New York minute? Willie's girl's got some class to her. Main line all the way. Yeah, well, if you see her, tell her she's wasting her time spooning with that crazy Kraut kid. Me, Max, the styling Spruce Street Sharpie. I'd take care of her like a princess, a regular princess. Tell her, would you? Good night.
Yes? You want something? It's Willie's ring. Willie, what's happened? Something bad, hasn't it? Something to Willie. He told me if I ever received this ring, I was to know that whoever gave it to me was a friend, and to tell them about the notebook, that they should find it. Willie's hidden a notebook on board, that's all I know. Now, what about Willie? Is he hurt? Oh, he told me jokes. Bad ones, but he made me laugh. Not like Mama's friends. Mama, she doesn't like Germans unless they've a title to their name. But I like Willie a lot. May I have it? The ring? Thank you. I'll never forget this. Willie's in trouble. Please help him if you can.
Do you have the painting? Get it and bring it to me.
Yes, can I help you? What can I do for you? Thank you. I shall return with your valuables in a moment. Here you are. By the way, Miss Pringle left word that you were to meet her immediately in cabin F-34. We really don't condone this sort of thing, not on an English ship.
Quickly, there's not much time. Willie Hadelitz is dead, electrocuted in the Turkish bath. I heard one of the officers talking about it. This may not have been an accident. Apparently, someone wants that painting badly enough to kill for it. Do you have it? Smashing. Splendid job. Look here, on the back. It's a plan for Allied troop deployment in France. If Germany ever invaded, they'd have destroyed us. No wonder Hadelitz was killed. Well, Berlin won't get this now. Leave the painting with the person. He'll keep it with the Rubaiyat. A notebook. Zeitel's previous mission was aiding a band of Russian revolutionaries called Bolsheviks who want to overthrow the Tsar. The Germans would like nothing better than to see chaos in Russia. I'll bet that notebook's got names of Russian radicals. Such a list would be very important to the Okhrana, the Russian secret police. With it, they'd root out the Bolshevik ringleaders and eliminate a threat to the Tsar, which would certainly help the rest of us. Young Hadelitz, a Tsarist spy? It's beginning to become clear. Quite possibly. We need more information about the murder. If Hadelitz was murdered, you'll need protection. Here, this pen releases a single burst of knockout gas when opened. Find that notebook. It could be vitally important. And give that painting to the purser. Go investigate the situation at the Turkish bath. Move.
Yes, can I help you? A painting, is it? I'll put this in the safe. Very good, then. Good night.
What have you heard? Anything? Tell me. A passenger, a young German, gone and dropped dead on us in the electric baths. Dr. Olothan's there now. Do? Bloody well nothing. Not till New York. The rest of the passengers must not be alarmed. Ismay is going to raise hell when he hears. And I thought this would be an easy trip. Talk to Smethers, his steward. Say the man came down here after using the squash courts. Be my guest. Mind you, it's not pretty. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Most regrettable. Most regrettable indeed. The young German gentleman, dead. In the electric bath, quite unanticipated. He was alive. Most vocally, too, just a few hours before, arguing with someone on B deck. The gentleman's voice was unfamiliar. About a painting. He'd misplaced it. And the other gentleman wanted to know where it was. Yes, I believe Dr. O'Loughlin is waiting to move him, so as not to alarm the other passengers. It is, I must warn you, a most unpleasant sight. Very good. This is most irregular. Most irregular indeed.
Hello, I'm Conkling. Good of you to come. I trust you're finding the accommodation satisfactory? You're welcome. White Star's anxious for everyone to be as comfortable as possible, particularly on the maiden voyage. Sorry to seem mysterious. You must understand someone in my position, an investor in this ship, needs discretion. You're under no obligation, of course. I have a slight problem. You may be able to help. A servant has stolen an important business document from me, and I must recover it. A few years ago, my wife Beatrix hired a young Irish girl as maid in our London house. We treated her well. 2 weeks ago, she up and left without notice, taking a certain letter with her. I'd given up all hope of recovering it, until my wife spotted her this morning on the third-class promenade. Needless to say, I checked with the purser. She'd been scheduled to sail on the Philadelphia, but those passengers were transferred on board the Titanic because of a coal strike. Yes, you could say so. I'd prefer to employ the services of a third party. You. Government officials, friends of mine, told me a bureau agent was on board. I found you through Mrs. Cashmore, a preposterous woman, but she does have an eye for accomplishment. Look, will you help me? You will be rewarded handsomely. Her name is Shayla Hacker. She's 20 or thereabouts. I was her benefactor, one might say. Yes. This puts me in a, difficult situation. This young woman, she could cause considerable damage to me, to my reputation if she goes to the newspapers. Confidential business matters. Conkling Steel provides steel for ships. This ship, for example. If the contents of the letter were publicized, our competitors would profit greatly. I've gotten word to her to meet on the poop deck. Go in my place. Tell her there'll be no trouble if she returns the letter. Afterwards, report to me in our suite, B59. Her name is Shayla Hacker. Good night.
Christ almighty wonder! You has a face ache, ain't you? Rooming the ship, poking your nose into everyone's business. Just who do you take me for now? One of those la-di-da millionaires up top? Jack Hacker keeps his word, honors his promises. When I saw you coming, I says to myself, they'll be wanting to know about him. The foreign gentleman, German I suspect. A remedy nervous type he was too. Give me a bob and told me to tell whoever asked to repeat the phrase word for word. You want to hear it now? But still the vine her ancient ruby yields, and still a garden by the water blows. Yeah, that's it. Here, he wrote it down. What's it mean anyway? Some rich man's game you play? You can have it. What did I tell you, Shay? I knew he'd not come in person.
Hush, Jack, hush. Conklin, he did send you, didn't he?
I told you, it's a trick. I knew Conklin wouldn't come. He sent one of his cronies instead. I'm her brother. And Conklin, because of him, Shayla's had to leave everything and everyone she knows.
Jack, no.
That son of a bitch. She was his maid and all the time violating it.
Hush, Jack. I'll have no more of it. Go on, Jack, say it.
You tell Conklin we have his letter, and he'll not be seeing it till he coughs up a tidy sum, too. 5,000, do you hear? Dollars. Enough to get her started right. And if he moves a hand against us, I'll make sure the newspapers get the letter and print it. So tell Conklin. 5,000. Measured against what he has, it's a bloody bargain.
Meet us here again. At 1 tonight.
$5,000, then he'll get his damn letter. Agreed?
We'll be waiting for you.
Tell me, do you approve of women who smoke? You're witty. Most men take their indulgences one at a time, combine them like women with tobacco, and they pitch fits. Pity. Andrew and I wintered in Cairo. We returned via Paris, where we ran into all sorts of people, including that charming German Colonel Zeitel. He had a great interest in rare books. It will be wonderful to be home. No dust storms, no lepers. Mr. Trask predicts a banner year for me. Trask? A brilliant seer. Brilliant! I consult him about business decisions, and he's never steered me wrong. He instructs me to travel on only 2 ships, the Titanic and the Lusitania. I must stop our chat here. I've other concerns. My maid, she's left us. Yes, well, good night.
Don't mind if I do. Smoke 'em if you got 'em, I always say. Gave a pack of these to the German kid earlier tonight. He's an odd one.
While we was docked in Queenstown, I saw him on top of one of the smokestacks.
The last one, right at the top. Who knows what he was up to? Looked like he was hiding some crazy crowd kid.
She's still running rough. You're so clever last time, you cared to have a go again. Right, there's a gauge showing the turbine's power out. The needle's got to move into the green zone. Cheers, mate.
You have interfered in my affairs for the last time. You are the one who stole the room and Sasha's painting. I know you have it. Prepare to die at the hands of Serbia.
I think that notebook is for me. Please. I cannot tell. The agents have our secrets. Thank you for finding it. Willie would have appreciated your effort. Cold, isn't it? I've maintained climate is the crucible of civilization. Culture blooms in the temperate. It is the tropic and Arctic zones which breed barbarism. Russia, for instance. In that notebook are names of anti-Tsarist Russians, revolutionaries living in exile. Germany supports these men. They are called communists. We provide assistance, small courtesies, and, wherever possible, financial encouragement. One of these men is moving to Krakow soon. Charming city, Krakow. We urge Willie to befriend such types in Vienna. He kept a list of such men for us, or so I thought. He was a Russian agent who was going to turn those names over to the Okhrana, the Russian Secret Service. Dave would kill them. Secretly, of course, but kill them just the same. Think. With the revolutionaries all dead, the Tsar would be secure on his throne. That should not be allowed. Not when there are wars to be planned for. Now then, the notebook. An iceberg. They've run into an iceberg. The idiots! I will be taking that notebook now. Thank you. These names won't be disembarking in New York. Neither, I am afraid, are you.
It was a poor shot, that. You'll live. But for how long is the question? We've struck an iceberg. The incompetents, the idiots! That was an hour ago. The captain's called women and children to the boat. It's serious. She's sinking by the bow. She's got about an hour left, maybe a little. The Rubaiyat. And a fine time I had getting it back from the purser. It's safer with you. I've the painting. Take it. Here's your necklace from the purser. Zeitel must have hidden the notebook. Perhaps it's in his room. Cabin C, 59. The notebook lists the names of Russian radicals. The Germans actively encourage Lenin and other revolutionaries. You must recover that notebook. This information is vitally important to our Russian ally. I know you're hurt, but the Titanic's sinking. It's not going to be easy. The lifts have been shut down for good. We must get the evidence off the ship before it goes. So, up we go. Now get cracking.
You had wanted this? Not quick, are you? Willie's names stay on board, and not with the Russian. A pity about the Titanic. She's going to sink, you know. I have it from Andrews. The poor fellow is in a state of shock. He is giving her about another hour at best. Make yourself comfortable. The bomb on the sofa will take care of everything else. What remains will go down with the ship. With, it appears, most of our fellow passengers. I will leave the notebook with you. A little bedside reading. Now, please excuse me. You think so? Excuse me, will you? I have an appointment to keep. Goodbye.
If you've come to get me to leave, I'm not leaving Willie. I want to stay near him on the ship. We met here in the lounge the first night out. He introduced himself. Willie was so kind. Not like Mama's friends. They just want our money. I'm staying with him. We went for a walk that night on deck. There were so many stars, just like tonight. I told him you can't see the stars in New York. The lights burn too bright. I told him to go to Central Park. I was going to take him to the park to show him the stars. Here, take this shawl. I don't need it. If you get to New York, visit the park. That's where you see stars. That's where I wanted to take Willie. Goodbye.
I wondered when you'd rematerialize. We're in a bit of a spot, don't you think? Me? My lord, no, I'm too old and too fat for small boats. Besides, after spending my corporeal career communing with the beyond, I'm not too worried about joining it now. Visit Mr. Riviera. He's playing for some very high stakes. Very high. I'm heading somewhere far more interesting. Let those who would stay save themselves. But what's still unknown is what you will do. Don't you see? You've changed the past. You've had that chance. What you do now will change the future. Don't fail. I suggest a hand of cards with Mr. Riviera. Hurry. You've changed the past. Now, change the future. Hurry.
You've not found a boat? It seems I shall not see Sunapee either. This is a test of faith, like the blood fluke infestations at the mission. Unspeakable things. The worms fell, even the fittest. We prayed then too, after Mazan and the bearers fled into the bush. Though Emily did not escape God's plan, tonight is another test. We shall brave the deluge like Noah and his family. Does anyone know how long the great flood raged? Do you know? Exactly. You are blessed with fortune. Comfort Miss Limehouse. She is in the first-class lounge.
Stand back! Ladies and gentlemen, maintain order. Women and children board first.
Prepare to swing out! Lifeboat away, sir!
You seen the Astors? My dear, how did you ever miss them? In the gymnasium. JJ was dissecting one of these wretched jackets to show his wife. Horrid. They go with nothing. Nothing. Couldn't be more tiresome. Though White did go with JJ's blue suit, but then he always cuts a figure. The Astor men. Such sharp dresses. Such prizes, as she figured out. Madeline, his child bride. Imagine, John Jacob Astor, a divorced man, marrying a 19-year-old from Brooklyn, too. In One I Do, she became like creme brulee, too rich to digest. Social disaster. They were cut, my dear, cut dead. So John took her abroad, to Egypt, where they and Mrs. Brown, that dreadful miner's wife, were thicker than thieves, of which Cairo is infested, I assure you.
See what I said about moonless nights? Boats 10 and 12 are next. The captain's ordered boarding of women and children first. There are still boats. Be patient. There are boats left. Come along, ladies. Hurry now. Reassure the passengers. If they panic, we'll save no one. Don't make me use this. Sailor, start filling 10 and 12.
I say, old bean. Absolute madhouse, don't you think? People running hither and thither, no organization, no plan of attack.
Henry doesn't think the situation calls for panic.
Lunatics, all of them, running about like rabbits with a stoat at the hole.
The lapse in social order is absolutely shocking.
Boats! Ha! If I were captain...
Such people, they're not dressed for first cabin, like those two immigrants on the second-class stairwell. Really, something should be done. The woman's quite upset.
Sodding
I can't possibly get in these boats.
I agree. Packing the women off in such crowded quarters.
Frightfully cramped.
Like tinned...
The Titanic is perfectly safe, isn't it?
I say, I'm in need of a gin.
Not now, Henry, not now. The officer there, he wants me in the boat.
They say the smoking room is still...
Goodness, I do believe I hear running water.
Perhaps we can play a few hands with that Frenchman.
Henry, I do think we should stay here with the boats.
Blast it all, Ribena. Pitch yourself in. I say, old bean, coming with?
Yes, do get in. We so enjoy the company.
Hoist a leg, old bean. In you go.
Tell them we did our best. Tell them...
lad left the sinking ship without the Rubaiyat, nor did he have the real Lambeth diamonds. The Black Hand never got its funds, money intended to finance a wave of terrorism across the Balkans. One of the intended targets, the heir to the Austrian throne, Archduke Franz Ferdinand. His murder might have started a war. We were lucky. We got peace instead. As for the painting, it left with me. The plans proved useless. In the month following the sinking, the War Office scrapped the proposed deployments in a cost-cutting measure. But the canvas? As the only artifact saved from the Titanic, the painting became famous. Along with its creator, a rather excitable Austrian named Adolf Hitler, who makes a lucrative career to this day, peddling overpriced alpine vistas to the carriage trade. I left the ship with Willie's notebook. Eventually, it found its way to the Russians. The Tsar's secret police were grateful, and the names Stalin, Lenin, and Trotsky vanished from history. The communist revolution aborted. I didn't really realize it then, but that night 30 years ago was one of history's most crucial. Though the Titanic carried 1,500 to the death, a peaceful world would be their epitaph. Our mission was a success. With no wars or bloody revolutions to derail us, prosperity and progress has flowed into every corner of the globe, bringing humanity a security known only to the privileged few before the Titanic sailed. Today, on April 14th, 1942, I am leaving the service to retire in a world at peace. One can only imagine how different it could have been, would have been, if we had failed.